Okay, so in this tutorial we're going to have a look at drawing up our lamp shade. This is this part here. Again, when we're in school or when we normally do it, we actually allow you to shape this, so this will potentially reflect your sort of base of your design eventually, all that type of thing. But we're going to just do it as a sort of a basic part as it is. It comes out one sheet of acrylic, and then you can see we line bend it along this edge and along this edge. This piece actually helps to secure our LED strip in place, so we'll make a start. Okay, so we've got our base done, upright done, elbow done. We then need to create a new part, so we're going to go to the insert new element, create part. And we're going to sketch on this front plane to start with. So click on the front plane. Again, we could draw that way. I tend to like to draw straight onto the front plane, so it goes flat on the screen. It makes it a bit easier, I think. We're going to start off with a simple rectangle to start with. So centre point rectangle. Start in the middle, and then drag out a rectangle. I'm going to dimension this length to be 44 millimeters. We're going to give it a thickness of 3. Again, that's just to match the width of our wood in our uprights. I'm just going to double check again. You can see, I'll just show you that. If you're ever unsure of any measurements, rather than getting all into finding the sketch, if you open them, you can go to this little tape measure icon, and I just hover over this length. You'll see that it tells me that that length is 44 mil. So again, it's dead quick to measure things. Let me go back to my, what's that part? So again, that's correct. 44 millimeters, 3 millimeters as wide. Again, I'm just going to snap back to the front. We're then going to add some detail on there. So from that rectangle, from the bottom corner, we're going to just, so I've selected the line tool now. We're just going to put a line there at a bit of an angle. Again, you can just click, it'll try and draw the next line. You can click escape. I can't because it'll stop the recording, so I've got to click on this line icon to stop that, but both works fine. Again, I'm going to do exactly the same over this side. Again, click on that, I'll get rid of it. I'm going to dimension that line that also wants to be 44 millimeters. That length, again, 44 millimeters. And we need to then give this a measurement as well. So we're going to select the line, select the bottom of our initial rectangle, and that should be 135. So obviously 90 millimeters plus 45, and then do the same on this one. So 140, well, bad guesses then. So we've got that basic shape there. What I'm then going to do, so we've got our rectangle, 2 angles. I'm then going to use this one here. It's an offset, basically copy tool if you like. So I'm going to offset. I'm going to select this line. You can see it offsets it above the line. If you wanted it below, you just double click on this arrow here. We actually want to change the offset. So I'm double clicking on that measurement, changing it to 3 millimeters. Again, I'm going to do exactly the same on the other one. So again, you can see it's gone the wrong way. So I'll just click on this arrow. It'll flip it the other way. Again, you've got to zoom in a little bit, double click on the measurement, get 3 millimeters. So that's our basics done. I'm then going to use the line tool just to join up these 2 ends. I'm going to join up them 2 ends. And the last thing is we need to join this bit here and this bit here. We're going to use a little 3-point arc for that. So again, I'm going to zoom in, find the end point there, and again, you'll see, obviously the centre point wants to be down there, but it sort of naturally does that anyway. So we've got that little radius on that side, pan across. Still on that same one, so I'm going to do centre point, end point, and then make sure that that centre is snapped at this point here, so it just takes a bit of fiddling about. There we go. And we're in. So Once we get to that stage, we are then ready to start extruding. So we've got all our basic dimensions. We're happy with that sketch. It's grading, so it's all solid. So once we've done that, we're then going to extrude it. So as ever, we select the parts. Well, I'd say one thing I should have done actually is delete that line there, because at the moment it's drawn as 2-3 separate things. So what I'm going to do, just before I do that extrude, I'm going to go back into my sketch. I'm hovering over it, right click and edit. I'm just going to use this trim tool to actually remove that line there, so you can see it becomes one part. That's much better. Miss that. Again, once I've done that, extrude, you'll see it selects it all as one piece now. Right, I could have selected all 3 parts separately, but it's just a better method. Again, we're then going to extrude this. Let me go back to this part. I just need to measure a length. So the length we will need is from, needs to cover from that point to that point. Oh, so 174, that's right. So we need to extrude that. I forgot what it was now. It was 174. 174, something like that. So that's our basic lampshade done. We have to put a few little holes. So I'm actually going to draw it on the bottom. Just the fact that because we put this little radius on this top edge, this distance isn't the same. So I'm actually going to rotate it and sketch underneath. So I'm going to create a new sketch, select the bottom again, just going to get it so it's square on, and we're going to put 4 holes in this. So I'll get to there. So again, don't worry too much about how big they are at the moment. We're going to put them as a 4mm hole. Pan down, I'm going to dimension it, so from this edge to the centre of the hole wants to be 10mm, and then from the top to the bottom I tend to use 20mm. I'm then going to repeat that. So again, rather than do all the dimension again, I can hover over the centre point. It's called inferencing. You'll see this little dotted line appears. Just keep following that dotted line. That saves me having to dimension this because it knows it's always 20mm. Again, change that to 4mm. I just need to then put the dimension from the edge to the middle. It's 10mm. Again, I'm going to repeat that along this bottom face here. So again, it's like a different technique. I'm going to do both at the same time now. So again, I'm just going to guess that position. Before I dimension it, I'm actually going to inference it across the middle whilst I'm still on, draw this one, so that'll mean that the height's the same, and what will happen is, when I dimension one, it'll hopefully change the diameter of both of them. I'll just double check that has done that. No, it hasn't. I'll just dimension that one. Then dimension from the bottom to the middle of the bottom to the middle of the hole. 20. Oh, that's changing both. And then I'm going to dimension from the edge. Again, make that 10mm. Make that distance 10mm. And then we've got our 4 holes dimensioned, exactly the same as we had. Once we're happy with them, I'm then going to extrude. We're removing them holes. Again, just make sure you select on the inside of each of these circles, not on the outside. So inside, inside, and then we're going to do through all. So let's click on that little arrow, through all, and then we end up with our 4 holes. So that's our lampshade drawn up. Those holes are clearly for screwing it to your lamp head. That's what we've drawn them on. But that's all we need to do on that one. Last thing you might want to do is change the colour. Again, realistically, that's I'm going to do red actually, I think this time. So I'm going to do red. What you can do, because this is actually a piece of see-through acrylic, we can use this little slider here to change the transparency, so we can actually make it look see-through when we come to assemble it. So Click on that, minimise that. Again, if you want to hide all these work planes, select them, hide all work planes. If you want to get rid of the origin, just select the origin, right click, hide, and then we're finished with our lampshade.